All right, everyone, welcome back to Dixon Politics, episode 9. I think most of us here in the studio are probably breaking out into a cold sweat right now because, as we revealed a couple days ago, we have the unbelievable, incredibly talented Dana Powell on the phone with us for this episode. Welcome, Dana.
Hi.
Dana, you are, first of all, such a treasure. And I like to describe you as one of the golden nuggets of Hollywood, where
Thank you.
some of the funniest moments ever from movies and TV shows are from you. But in order for us to really figure out, well, who the hell was that? I've seen her millions of times before. People have to do their research and they have to do their digging. And I love that. So right now you're on Modern Family.
Yes.
And where we left off was your character was in jail.
Yes.
And left your son with your brother and your brother-in-law and went off to jail. So tell us, what's it like being on Modern Family? I think from us looking from the outside looking in, it seems that everyone in the cast and crew, they just have such a great relationship and rapport. Is that true? Are we picking up on something, or is there something going on that we don't see?
Yeah, no, it is true. Everyone really loves each other. And, people always say that in interviews, whatever, but it is true. I mean, for a show to be running that long, they're in season 10 now?
Yeah.
So for that to happen, there has to be a good solid foundation of everybody loving each other, for that to happen. So I got very, very lucky. I've been very lucky many times in my career. I know I get spoiled and I don't take it for granted. That's for sure.
Well, I'm so glad that you found such a wonderful, talented, and dynamic team to work with. I think that's such a special experience. So how did you get on Modern Family? Did you audition, or was it someone saying, hey, let's write a role for Dana? Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. I have known Eric Stonestreet for almost 20 years. We started out improvising together at a place called Improv Olympic in Hollywood. I had a teacher that was friends with him, and she was like, "You need to meet this guy. I feel like you could have a similar career to his, and he could help advise you." And he really did become my mentor, which he gives me a hard time about. Um, but he's very business savvy. He's extremely talented, and so I was lucky to have that relationship. So when the character came up, a writer recommended me. My husband was actually working on the show as a supervisor at the time, so he kind of wanted to recommend me, but was worried about it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, my representation submitted me, so I kind of came at them from a lot of different directions.
Cool.
Eric mentioned me, of course, and so I will say, I think a lot of people, it's an industry of favors, and so I think a lot of people are like, yeah, of course Dana got it. She's friends with Eric. But if you know much about this industry, usually the actors don't have any say in what happens. Now, he's a little bit more powerful in that regard, so, his opinion would matter, but I still had to go through the audition process, and it was very scary because he saw my tapes.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. So he was like, after my first audition, he was like, well, that wasn't great, but I guess you didn't tank it. So
That's awesome. I love that.
yeah, so it was very nerve-wracking, but worth it, obviously.
I can't imagine anyone else being in that role. And Dana, I have to tell you, and I'm not trying to be a kiss ass, but every single time your character, after I sort of got to know your character watching the show, every time you'd come on, I would be like, oh no, it's Pam. Oh no. And it was it's sort of, I'm trying to come up with a comparison, when a really, really good antagonist, comes onto the scene and you're like, oh jeez, here she is. I felt that same way about you because your character is so well developed that in my mind I have a hard time sometimes differentiating oh yeah, Dana's a real person. She's not actually Pam. She's not actually going to ruin the rest of my day. This is just a show. But I love it. And one of my favorite scenes was when when you were dreaming. I think I told you this, when you were dreaming on the couch and you and Jesse Tyler kissed.
Oh, yes. Because we were obsessed with The Crown, the TV show The Crown.
Oh my God.
And so I was dreaming about it. And yeah, we shot that many, many times, and my husband was on set. And finally we were like, I think we've covered this from every angle. Are we kind of done here?
That's hysterical. Yeah, Corbin just clutched his pearls because he loves The Crown.
It's so good, and I'm so
It
sad.
is so good.
I'm so sad to see. Well, I know they've talked about it, but like each cast gets 2 seasons, and so now with the new cast coming in, with Olivia and what's her name?
I can't get into it. You and Hannah.
I love
the
The Crown,
only-
but I don't know who the new cast is. I haven't got.
I don't know the new cast.
Well, Olivia Colman, who just wrapped up.
Spoiler alert! It's
Yes.
Dana. Dana is going to be starring as the queen.
Oh,
I wish.
Helen Bonham Carter.
Oh,
Yes.
that's what it is.
Yeah, so they've already released as far as the major characters, and I love that show so much.
It's a good one. So
It is.
what was
It's a
it
great
like working with James Vanderbeek? Because when I saw that he was going, I mean, I basically like blacked out, and I'm like, no. Oh my God. Is he just wonderful?
Yes, he could not be more delightful. The first day I met him, we were going to the table read, and we were in separate golf carts. So LA. So we got driven up to the table read in separate golf carts, and we drove up at the same time, and he saw me and he waved, and then he leaped off the golf cart and he was like, Dana, I am such a huge fan of you on the show. You're so great. This is so exciting. And I was just like, wow, because you're not always going to get that kind of greeting from a fellow actor.
He
Especially
seems so sweet.
He is a doll, and he has a ginormous family.
I was going to say, he has like 1 million children who are all just adorable and beautiful, whom he dedicates 1,000,000,000% of his time to. At least that's what it looks like online.
Crazy. Yes, every spare second he has is with his children, and they're gorgeous.
Well, I love seeing him, and I love seeing actors, especially like you, that I can watch throughout the years, and as I get older, you still make me laugh, doesn't matter how old I am. Because you started on Reno 911. Am I getting that right? Because I feel like that's where I first started.
Yes, that
Okay.
is the very first professional job I had.
Ugh, love that show.
That was
Wow.
the funniest show.
Wait, what was that clip that came out like a year ago where they were doing like the drunk driving test, but they were doing like Broadway style choreography in the street?
Yes.
Ugh.
Wendy McClendon Covey.
Yes, yes.
She played that. She's a good friend of mine, and she is hilarious. She's on the Goldbergs now.
Oh my God, I love, my favorite part of like that commercial for the Goldbergs was when she was like standing over her son who was asleep, and she's just like, I love you. It's like my mother. I'm not joking. I was home for the holidays, and it was Christmas. Yeah, it was Christmas morning. 8:00 in the morning. I'm still asleep, but I had this weird feeling, like this weird sensation, like I was being watched. So I opened my eyes, and sure enough, there's my mother standing over me. And I
Hilarious.
screamed, and I said, Mom, what are you doing? She goes, I just thought you were calling me. I'm like, in my sleep? No,
Right.
Get out of my room, please. Oh my
What you
God.
don't know is she probably already took 7 pictures of you sleeping.
Oh, I don't
That's
doubt
what
it.
I do.
I do not doubt it. But you do. You are a mother. You have
I
an
am.
adorable, I don't want to call him a little boy because he's not so little, but he
I still call him a little boy. He's always going to be my little boy.
he seems like such a sweetheart. And I love that you guys got that lizard for Christmas. So
That is the
fun.
only thing he asked for was a gecko. We were like, what do you want to tell Santa you want for Christmas? He's like, a gecko. Very decided.
Fine. So do you have to go out and get crickets like 3 times a week? Is that like your new thing?
She's so tiny right now. We've only bought them when we got her, and then now, actually, as we speak, my husband and my son are going to the pet store to buy crickets.
Yikes. I used to have an anole, and I would have to take like a potato and take a tiny little potato slice, put that in a paper bag, and then pour the crickets into the paper bag. I don't know if you do that, or just FYI, it's something you can look forward to. It's a delight.
Well, we have a cricket home, so now I think my son thinks the crickets are his pets as well.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
my
so
God.
because we feed them, because they say now you have to they call it gut filling your feeder insects, so you have to feed them and treat them very kind so they're healthy when your lizard eats them.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
all right. Again, we can't thank you enough for joining us, but I would like to sort of try to make this episode maybe as normal as possible, which means that we're going to start off with our political segment called What's Burning. I wanted to do like a 2018 quiz with you guys, and not necessarily just about politics, but just about things that happened this year. I want to test your memory, make sure that we're not all getting old and forgetting things, but also like sort of like selfishly to prove that millennials do pay attention, contrary to popular beliefs. So I wish we had buzzers. We should have buzzers. But let's see. All right, let me go through. All right, here's question number 1. The Trump administration said on January 4th it would allow blank in nearly all United States coastal waters. Was it garbage dumping, new offshore oil and gas drilling, or whaling?
B.
B.
Yep, offshore. Lovely. Something for us to look forward to. All right, so
Yeah.
Dr. Lawrence Nasser was sentenced to 40 to 175 years in prison for multiple sex crimes, capping on an extraordinary 7-day hearing that drew more than 150 young women to publicly confront him and speak of their abuse. He was the former team doctor for USA Gymnastics, the United States Equestrian Team, or the United States Tennis Association.
A.
Yeah. And
Wow.
do you know what was interesting about this? Was, do you remember Aly Raisman was the first person, I believe, to come out and speak about this experience. And was it Simone Biles that had such like a visceral reaction to her doing that? I don't remember who it was, but one of her fellow teammates was like, women are responsible for the way that they dress and they should dress the way they want to be treated and so on. And then like a few months later, she came out and was like, I was also molested by the same doctor. I think I had a reaction out of fear, blah, blah, blah. Do you guys remember that?
I do remember that.
Wow.
Yeah. What a year. All right, let's see. The opening ceremony of the 23rd Winter Olympics in blank unfurled in frigid temperatures and high spirits on February 9th. This was in Beijing, China. I cannot pronounce. Pyeongchang, South Korea. Or oh my gosh, people are going to castrate me. North Korea.
In North Korea?
Gosh.
I don't think it was in North Korea. I think it was B.
B? It was one of the Koreas. I
Yep.
feel like.
It was
Yeah, it was
Pyeongchang,
one of
South
the
Bad
Korea.
at geography.
So am I.
Me too. All right, let's see. Oh, here we go. The Disney... Dana, this one's for you, because you're in Hollywood, so you should really know this. All right, the Disney Marvel movie, blank, which finds the superheroic T'Challa returning to his remote African kingdom to assume the throne, roared into theaters during its February opening weekend as a full-blown cultural event, breaking box office records. Corbin, I see how excited you are, but this is for Dana. So Dana, was it Black Panther, Captain Marvel,
Yes.
or Venom?
Black Panther.
Oh, such a good movie. Dana,
So
did you see
good.
it?
Yeah, it's good.
I loved it.
Did you? I loved it too. I was a little, I don't know. At first I didn't really like it. And I think there was one joke in it that was a little bit off for me. And it was when they were like, oh, look, another stupid white man. Like, what was it, Corbin? Do you remember we talked about this?
The CIA agent and the king's sister had made a comment about, another white man that we have to save or correct his mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And because T'Challa and his bodyguard were recovering an item in an archive, and his sister's like the super genius at the age of 18, and she was like, oh, listen, now we gotta fix his mistake too. Yeah, it was kind of offhanded, but I thought overall, like, Ryan Coogler, who's a phenomenal film director, his cinematography and his choice in setting and overall, it was just phenomenal, and I it was so good.
Yeah.
So good.
I don't know. I mean, other than that joke, I really liked that movie. Dana, what did you think?
I really enjoyed it, but I'm maybe not always the best litmus test for something, because when I go to see a movie, like I fully immerse myself into it, and I let go of any questions. It has to be pretty bad for me not to be like, I enjoyed that.
Wait, Dana, can you retell that story of the time you took yourself on a date alone to the movies and there was another moviegoer that was not quite as interested in having a pleasant night as you were? Can you walk us through that story? I don't know if you guys have heard this yet, but it's good.
I have an issue with going to the movies. Some of my friends won't go to the movies with me anymore because if someone talks in a movie, for some reason I go from 0 to 60 so fast. Like, it infuriates me. I don't get out to the movies a ton because I have a kid and whatever, life's busy. And also it's expensive, guys, right?
Yeah.
So one night I went, my son and my husband had gone to sleep. It was late at night, and I had just gotten back from a trip where my dad had open heart surgery. Like, I really needed just an escape. So I went to see The Witch, which
Of all movies.
doesn't sound like a really calming movie, but I love scary movies and I don't have anyone to go with. So I went. And so the trailer started and this man was talking full voice on his phone through all of the trailers. And I thought, Dana, don't pick a fight tonight. He'll stop when the trailers are done. Well, the movie started and he didn't stop. And so something inside of me just snapped. I lost like all humanity inside me, and I raised my hands in the air above my head and I started clapping. Please stop talking. I really need this tonight. And so he didn't stop talking. And so I got up and I marched out to the lobby to get security. And I was like, there's a man in there. He's talking. You need to make it not happen. And when I came back inside, I looked right at him. He was still on his phone. And I pointed at him. I said, I told you not tonight. So,
Not today.
Not today.
So security came in and got him, and they actually had to threaten him and remove him. It was a really big deal. But I realized at that point that I had angry walked out of my underwear. Like, I had on a maxi dress, like a long dress, and I had gotten so mad and walked so fast without any care for my undergarments that they were around my knees.
Wow.
And so I just was like, what am I going to stand up? Everyone here thinks I'm crazy as it is.
Right.
So I'm not going to stand up and pull my underwear up. So I just rolled them off and stuffed them in my purse.
Perfect. Perfect.
I think you handled that well, actually.
Strong character choice.
And then
Strong
she was
and
the witch.
wrong, but strong and right.
Oh my
I
God.
really let that man know, don't talk in the movies.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God.
He
I
was
love
like,
it.
she became the witch. That's the
She
witch.
got her
right
panties
there.
down.
I was. And you know what? I'll tell you, I was so mad because I really feel like I did not fully enjoy that movie because of that experience.
Damn it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Dana, but like The Witch, that's definitely one that you have to watch twice. When I saw it, because again, I'm
Yes.
very much into horror as well and thrillers. I understood it the first time around, but I was like, there's a deeper truth that I need to watch this a second time. And when I watched the second time, I was like, oh my gosh, there it is.
Will you watch it with me?
I haven't
Yeah.
seen it either.
Yeah, I wanna watch
It's so good, and what I love about these particular actors, and I don't know their names off beat, is they're not. I know them through the independent industry or through independent. They're not like overblown superstars, which is what I love. So I can focus on the story.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Their names don't pull you out of the wanting to believe in the reality of the film. It's good.
I love it. All right, so, well, actually, I'll be honest, we did a little bit better with that 2018 quiz than I thought we would. So let's get into our next segment. When Dana and I were speaking about doing this interview together, is that one of your cats?
It sounds like a baby.
Or is that a baby?
My
What is
cat?
that?
Oh, my cat is in here. Did she meow?
Yes.
It's so cute.
I'm
though.
sorry.
No, it's fine. We like it.
We love
I'm
cats.
so sorry. She wanted out and then she wanted in.
Oh,
and
of
now I
course.
guess she wants love. She's going to lay down. She's old.
It's fine. My parents have a cat who, like, kicks open the door. She headbutts open the door to the family room, waits for it to swing violently open and hit the wall. She then stands in the doorway and goes, meow.
Oh
And then
my
she
God.
comes in, she bumps her head into every piece of furniture, and then runs out of the room. So I totally get it.
Funny.
Just a normal thing. But
Yes.
when we were speaking to each other about this interview and sort of going over what we wanted to talk about, I think a lot of your message and your intent in Hollywood not only is to make us laugh, but also to remind us that you are still a person. You are not your characters. You are a wife. You are a mother. You have, what is it, like 4 cats, 2 dogs, and a lizard, like something like that. You've got a lot going
Two
on.
cats, a dog, and a lizard.
There you
yes.
go. I don't know where I got 4. Anyways, but I'd like
That's
to
just
go.
Sam's dream. She wants 4 cats.
It is my dream.
Yes,
I'm
for
not gonna
sure.
lie. So I'd like to go into another segment of ours called Modern Manners, and I'd like for you to kind of talk to us about like what it's like being a mother of a young child in Hollywood, and then what people can do when they come over to your house to just sort of make life easier for you and not be so disruptive because you've already got so much going on, and then vice versa, like when you go to other people's houses, like if you're traveling for the holidays, is there certain stuff, and we want to know because none of us have kids but a lot of our friends do, and we're like, shit, what do we do? So let's get into our next segment called Modern Manners. So Dana, on top of living this incredible life and having this wonderful career, you are a mother. And
Yes.
what's it like, because I see what it's like for working moms here in New York City who like have to get a nanny because they want to work, and then they feel guilty about staying at work late, but they've got a deadline, but they've got this little kid at home. Like, is it the same in Hollywood? What's that like for you to balance the two?
Yeah, it is a lot of the same stuff, just in different ways. I wasn't sure I wanted to have kids, but my husband was like, yeah, no, I think it's a deal breaker. So we were married for 10 years before we had a kid. And part of my hesitance was I felt like I was the kind of person that would completely lose myself in motherhood and not be able to focus on my career or pursue my career out of guilt or just out of not wanting to. And I was afraid to lose that. So when initially I had my child, I did feel that for a few months. And then one day I woke up and I was like, I'm not this woman. I need to pursue my creative desires and continue with my career. And is that bad?
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely, and from time to time, I still feel guilt. But someone said to me once that there was an Olympic swimmer who had come back and had a child and come back. And they said, you have to train so much, you're away from your child so much. What do you think your child's going to get from this? And she said, well, I hope my child says my mother was very strong and independent and happy pursuing her dreams.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my gosh, what a wonderful role model for a child. There's strength in that. And it doesn't take away from her love for him. So I kind of adopted that idea. And I talk to people a lot, like I'm on sometimes I'll speak to college kids and stuff. And I always say, for you girls out there, don't just assume that you can't have it all, because you can.
Mm-hmm.
You can be a mother and still have a career and still show your child that you love them. It doesn't take away from that. So that's sort of what I've been doing. I do have a nanny, and I sacrifice like going out to dinner and having fun times to continue to keep my nanny, because that's important to me. She cares about my son. I know he's being well taken care of, and I have time to write. And I can't do that with him. Like, I mean, my kid's asking for goldfish or cheese every 5 minutes. So, like,
Same.
yeah.
Same as in Sam does that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well,
That's
Sam,
really
don't
cool.
come asking me to get it for you, because I don't have time.
The
No.
only thing that I want from you is to go to Dancing with the Stars with me. It's basically going to be me and Dana, like, critiquing all of the dances, and then Corbin as, like, the actual professional dancer being like,
Yeah, I have
ladies,
no
listen.
qualifications.
Well, and no shade, but Samantha and I, we were talking about, because you know how we have different variations, so we always have our foundation here, home base in the U.S., and then they do the spin-offs in Germany, in Berlin, and Ireland.
Yeah.
And
Dana, I didn't message you about this, but I meant to. Hold on, Corbin, you go.
So I was messaging Sam because there's this guy that I follow on on Twitter, and he's on the Irish version of Dancing with the Stars. And I sent it to Sam, and she said, "What is this?" Because
You guys, it was a mess. It was, first of all, oh, honey. Dana, I would have, honestly, I was going to text you about this, but I was going through the McDonald's drive-thru, so I was extremely busy, and I didn't have a chance. But, yeah, Corbin sends me this thing, and, you know, I watch Dancing with the Stars religiously. Like, every Monday night, no one is allowed to talk to me between 8 and 10 Eastern Standard Time. Like, I am extremely busy. I do not work late that night, like, nothing. And I'm always sitting here on my couch, you know, eating a Hungry Man meal alone and just judging the hell out of all the dancers on the U.S. show. Oh, honey, listen, I will never say a bad thing about Whitney Carson ever again after seeing the mess that's over in Ireland. I mean,
oh my gosh,
it was. I'll have to send it to you so we can chat about it. But it was just. I mean, first of all, they don't have Mandy Moore, which is the choreographer. So that's sort of number one. They don't have her. So I don't know who the heck their choreographer is, but I watched one number where they tried to fuse river dance with ballroom dancing, and it went all wrong.
That doesn't sound like it could
That
go
doesn't.
well.
So random.
No.
And I feel like
it does not sound pretty.
No, it was, and there was some sort of like a storyline within the dance number, but like originally I thought that we were just walking through the streets of Ireland, but then some way, midway through the dance, we were now in an Irish pub, and I have absolutely no idea what the hell was going on. I could tell that the dancers weren't looking at each other. Like, so much of when you dance in an ensemble, you have to look at the other people and you have to find a way to move as one, even though there might be 20 of you. Everyone was just trying to be their own superstar. It was a mess. It was a mess.
Wow.
So
You're so passionate about it right now.
I'm like really hot about it, so I will stop. But so I want to go back and I want to ask you, like, mom guilt. That's a real thing, right?
Oh yeah.
How does it feel? Like, because I used to nanny, right? And I remember the mother, she was a teacher, and so she had, you know, a crazy, crazy demanding, busy job. And I sort of just remember the energy in the room when she would leave for work. It was always a little tense, and I felt like maybe she did feel, you know, sad about missing out on her kid's day. Like, can you tell us, like, how would you describe that feeling?
Yeah, definitely. You feel sad on missing out because it's so, everything that people say about having kids is so true. They're like, treasure it, it goes so fast. Mm-hmm. And it's a cliche for a reason because it's true. For some reason, they say babies bring good luck. So when I was pregnant and then right after I had my baby, I worked a lot. And which is weird. I'm like, maybe I should get pregnant again. I need a job. But so right after I had him, I shot an episode of The Office, and I knew I was going to be gone all day, and that was my first like major time away from him, and I was still breastfeeding. So at one point, you take a break I took a break to pump. Well, we were shooting in a cabin, so I had to go up into someone's master bedroom, like private bathroom suite, and sit on the side of the tub and pump. And I just sat there and cried. I was like, really, is this more important than being at home feeding your child? When at the end of the day, it's important for me to support my child. Right. So, yeah. So I just try, emotionally, you go back and forth with it. But at the end of the day, it's respectable to earn a living. And I'm supporting my child, and I'm showing him that I can be a strong female in sometimes a predominantly male-dominated profession.
Yeah. What was it like for you being a woman in Hollywood with all of the allegations coming out and the whole Me Too movement? Did that ripple through sort of your experiences at all?
Yeah, it was very interesting. I'm also involved in a lot of the improv and sketch communities here in Los Angeles. And so that also, it happened within that community as well. And it's such a touchy subject because when in the time I was coming up, it was mostly men. So a lot of times it was just me and 5 guys on a team. And comedian boys are filthy dirty, and you just kind of get used to it. And I always made very clear what my boundaries and guidelines were. That doesn't make what the men have done, I've been very lucky and I've been with wonderful men and have not really had to suffer a ton of that. But I know some women have, and it's a very, it's time for those things to change. I hope that everyone who speaks out, it's a real circumstance that needs to be dealt with, because if it's not, then that weakens our voice, and that's what I hate.
Yeah, same here.
I want to make sure that all of these allegations are true and need to be dealt with. And it's a fine line, because you don't want to be that person that doesn't believe someone, so I always err on the side of believing someone. But for me personally, I'm in charge of my boundaries, and I make that happen. And if you overstep that, you're going to pay.
Yeah. Good for you. That's awesome. I mean, I think we've seen it here in New York, but only sort of in the corporate world, because that's where we all are. But I always wanted to know sort of how it felt for people that are in Hollywood, especially women right now. And is it changing the dynamic? Is it changing the energy on set? Is it changing the way that writers are, creating these roles and these dialogues for you? So I definitely think we're headed in the right direction.
I think so too. I know many women personally that have had terrible, terrible things happen to them that shouldn't, or been spoken to or touched or whatever, and that needs to stop.
Yeah, absolutely. So going back to I love that it's fun to talk to you, and then we get off topic, but I
Sorry.
do want, girl, it is my fault. I take full blame. I got all hot about Dancing with the Stars Ireland, and that was the end of that. But I want to know, not so much anymore, because your son is older now, so does he still nap, or is he done napping?
Nope, he's done napping.
Okay, so think back to when he was younger and he would nap. Did you ever, I think a lot of times we find a little bit of attention sometimes with our girlfriends when, we want to drop by. Maybe it's on a Saturday because we all work, so it can only be on a Saturday. But there's only an hour and a half window when we can drop by, because other than that, the kid is napping or, whatever it may be. So thinking back to when your son was younger, if you could give advice to, us, women who don't have children but have friends that do, what can we do to make your life easier when we do come over and visit?
Yeah, I love that question, because I made a show, you kind of mentioned it earlier. I did a show for Awestruck, which is kind of a mommy company, called I'm Still a Person. And it's because I really felt like I lost a lot of my friends when I had a kid.
Really?
And most of my friends didn't have kids at the time. And so it's like nobody wants the people coming along that have a kid. We want to drink and party, right?
Oh,
so I said, still, here's the thing. You don't necessarily have to come to us. Sometimes it's really healthy and wonderful for us to get out, but we have to be invited.
Right.
And I think that people forget. Or if you say no a couple of times because you're like, dang it, I have, my son has a doctor's appointment or whatever, they stop asking. But my advice is don't stop asking. They're not saying no because they don't want to see you. It's just really hard. But they want more than anything to get out and be themselves with their girlfriends for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then what can we do when you're bringing a young child, let's say a kid under the age of 2 or 3, over to our houses? Like the girls and I joke, should we wrap everything in bubble wrap? Like Paris Hilton did on that episode of The Simple Life. Should we make sure that our knives are locked away? What can we do to just make sort of that in-home visit with you and your child a little bit more comfortable and easier?
For me personally, what always works really well is you don't have to pay a ton of attention to my kid. That's not why I'm with you. I need some attention.
Okay. Cool.
So my kid's pretty cool if he's got a movie to watch or colors or just something to keep him occupied. I frequently bring toys or, trucks or whatever for him. And then don't feel obligated to bring him into our hangout. He's fine. He has me all the time. You don't. And I need you right now.
Right.
That's great advice.
It's so important. We just want to feel normal again, because this is a new way of life and a new way of living that this other person is in constant need of our attention and our focus and our, everything we're doing is for them. But we need you sometimes, because that makes us feel like the person we used to be. And it's finding that balance of who I was and who I am now and getting the best of all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can help facilitate that by just being there.
I love that. And I think I know I'm guilty of this anyway, is whenever you or friends of mine do bring their children over, like, I don't feel obligated, but like I am sort of inspired to play with their kids and get really involved with their kids, because that's my way of really demonstrating to my friend that I love their child and I'm happy to have them in my space and in my home, and I love that time. But I love that you bring up that it's like, all right, like, he's fine. He's got his trucks.
Mm-hmm.
He has his like no spill sippy cup, and
Yep.
I just changed his diaper. Like, leave him and let's talk like two adults, and
Yes.
not in hushed tones, but let's actually talk and have a great time and hang out. I absolutely love that. So the last is, I want to get some more like nuggets of Hollywood from you, but before we get into that, we have another segment that's all about saving money. And yeah, and so I would love to get into that a little bit with you, because there's ways that we as young women, and Corbin as a young gentleman, we're all looking to save a buck. But I feel like when you're a wife and a mother, you probably have some secrets that like we don't even know about, and we would love if you could share some of those with us. So let's get right into it. Wait, I have a coupon.
Well, I don't want to be a huge disappointment, but I would not say that's my strong suit.
Damn it, Dana! You let me down.
You and me both, Dana. I'm the worst.
I am not, like, I'm like, a coupon, I will lose that in my purse and find it when it was expired 12 years later.
Whoops.
However, I do have an unwarranted suggestion.
Please.
I just bought a book. It just came yesterday, and it is called Get Shit Done by Caro Handley. And it is a step-by-step guide to conquering life's challenges. And the very first section is all about money.
Oh, there you go.
So it's about career, money, dating, and relationships. Clearly, I don't.
So basically,
need dating.
our podcast, but in a book.
In a book, but it has like exercises and questions you can ask. And it's so weird. I was flipping through it before I got on here with you guys, and it's like makes you keep your life simple. It also talks about the cost of your job and career and how to keep that in check. Canceling the financial crisis. Anyway, I haven't read it, so I can't give it a thumbs up or a thumbs
Well,
down.
you're just gonna have to come back.
Well, before
Yes.
another
Next
episode.
round. Yeah, and
Yes.
it'll be all about getting your shit together. That's another
talks
good name for a podcast.
Get your
I know, right? It says, do you think you can't afford to save? Well, think again, blah, blah, blah. And it gives you like steps you can take. And then there's also the hooey gooey, like learn how to attract more into your life. But I get into that stuff sometimes.
So do you buy, because I think Adriana and I know that we do this, and Hannah, you're into this a little bit, and Corbin, I've gotten you into it, buying in bulk. Dana, do you buy things in bulk?
No, I can't buy in bulk because my house is too tiny. I live in Los Angeles.
I have a tiny house now too, but before I lived in my tiny house, I'm obsessed with Costco.
Oh, I know. Like, Hannah, what are you doing? Well, you're going to go out. It's like a Friday night. Like, so, what are you doing tonight? Oh, well, first I have to go let the dogs out, and then I'm going to go to Costco. And then I think I'm going to go to Whole Foods.
Dana,
and
I
then
live
I'm going
alone. I live by myself, so there's absolutely no reason that I need to shop at Costco for anything. There's
don't
nothing
ever
I need at
need to-
Costco. But I love it there. I bought toilet paper once last year.
Amazing.
Once. It was beautiful.
And you have nice toilet paper.
Where on earth did you store that much toilet?
Well, I used to have a bigger condo where I had like ample closet space for all my toilet paper and paper towels and extra cleaning supplies. But now I'm in a smaller apartment, so I had to I used it all up, gave some of it away, and now I've just got.
But
The
see,
bare
you didn't
minimum.
save any money if you gave some away.
Wasted it all. Well, no, I didn't buy any before I moved into my new place, so it's not like I had a bunch. I'm telling you, I bought toilet paper and paper towels like once last year, and then I just ran out of paper towels before I moved. I had to buy like a regular 3-pack. I did.
Was that weird
I
for
did.
you?
Yeah, it was. I didn't go to Costco and buy my normal.
You know what you
12-pack.
had? Remember when I was rummaging through your laundry closet in your condo? You had the biggest canister of Downy Unstoppables I have ever seen in my entire life. I'm like, what the hell is this? And she's like, I got this at Costco. Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
Dana,
I
do
love
you and your
Costco.
husband, like, do you do meal prep? Do you ever do
No.
anything like that? Okay.
No,
Does
here's
that
the
go out
thing.
the window when you have a kid?
Well, partially because of our lifestyle out here. My husband's a producer and I'm an actress. And so he, our hours when I am working, they can be long. His hours are long. So he eats like a king on set.
Oh yeah, they catered everything.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Craft services,
everything.
I forgot.
They literally have
Does he at least bring
breakfast,
snacks?
second breakfast, snack, lunch, second lunch, snack. I mean, it's crazy.
Oh my
They
God.
just
We're
eat
coming
constantly.
out to visit you, and we will live in your backyard. We don't care, and then we're going to go to work with you and your husband.
Yeah, I'm hungry now.
You can just tell everyone that we're your assistants and that we're here to sample the food for you,
Yes,
and also for your husband to make sure that it is not poisonous.
Right.
Yes, we need tasters. Yes.
Oh my God, I love it.
So at that point, it's like just my kid and me at home, or I've already eaten or whatever. And so it's like, I'm not gonna. I first of all can't cook. I'm no good at being a wife. That's why I'm a comedian. And so I just feed my kid, and then I eat like a couple of slices of bread and a lean cuisine.
I love lean cuisines.
I am a microwave girl. The first time I ever used my stovetop, my kid was like 4, and he was like, "What is
What is
that?"
that? I've never seen that work before. Oh my God.
I'm a special kind of lady. I tell my husband all the time, I'm like, I may be a horrible wife and housekeeper, but I'm real funny.
There you go. And you are very funny. So I want to talk a little bit more about your career. I mean, the most basic question ever. Why did you decide to be an actress, or was it decided for you and you didn't even know and you're like, damn, I love this? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I think I'm not your normal story of like, I was singing by the time I was 4. I was a fat, like a chubby, very shy, insecure, quiet girl. And I wasn't super popular, but I wasn't super nerdy. I was just kind of invisible. I ran in different circles, and I think that because I was overweight, I was just always afraid that people weren't going to like me, so I was the nicest person I could be. And so I was very quiet and shy. And then in high school, my mother forced me to try and, because I am sure I was somewhat of a disappointment to her. She forced me to audition for the chorus of the musical at our high school my freshman year, and I did not make it. Now, anybody that knows anything about high school drama or musicals or whatever, almost anyone can get in the chorus.
Yep. Oh my God.
So she forced me to go back every day after school and ask if anyone had dropped out of the chorus and could I take their place.
Oh my God.
And obviously I lived in fear of my mother to be able to rather do that than deal with my mom. So I did, and I finally got in the chorus, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. So I joined drama, and I was pretty successful within the theater department in my high school. So then I said, well, I want to go to college for this. And then my parents were like, whoa. That doesn't seem very realistic. So I paid my own way through school, and I worked at a factory at night. And I went through school and did plays and stuff as much as I could while I was working. And in the summer, I would work 3 jobs so that I could pay for the school year. And it was not easy, but I think that it allowed me to be more of the person I really wanted to be through these characters. But that I called that my year of vulnerability, because that's when I really had to take off the mask of the actor and who I am professionally and become a real person. And I realized how powerful that was. And it made me think, I kind of think that's what I was searching for in the beginning. And so being an actor was almost like a false way of being something else that I wasn't, I guess.
Yeah.
But I fell in love with it. And at this point in my life, I'm getting up there. And
You're 22, right?
23.
Sorry, excuse me.
No, but I think that I often say this is not an easy business to be in. I'm a writer. I've produced some of my own stuff, branded content for Uber and stuff like that. And it's not none of it is an easy business to be in. And so I laugh and I tell my mom sometimes, I'm like, Mom, I still do pray that God will help me not love this anymore because, man, it's tough. But legitimately, I don't think there's anything else in the world that would make me as happy and fulfilled and feel successful as performing and writing.
That's awesome.
I think it's just in my blood. I've never had a plan B. I don't want a plan B. Nobody has ever been like, that kid's going to be a star. I was not the popular one in college where people were like, watch out, this one's going places. But I just persisted. And I say I have, this is implied, so I apologize, but I have a little fuck you flame in my heart.
Oh, we swear all the time. I was trying not to, just in case you were listening back to this in your car.
Oh, okay, good.
With your kid, but yes, we swear all the time. So just let her rip. Crank it up.
Okay, good. So I say I have a little fuck you flame in my heart, and some people think, oh, that sounds negative. But for me, it really, when somebody says, I'm not sure you can do this, or they don't want to see you, or whatever, that flame just flares up, and I push forward. I push through everyone else's doubt. It makes me believe in me.
Yeah.
And so I came into Hollywood as an overweight actress that when it wasn't cool to be the overweight actress, it's kind of becoming like a thing now, which is awesome. I love it. But it wasn't cool when I got here. And so not only did I not know anybody, I had no credits, I was overweight, I wasn't what they were looking for. I had all these things counted against me. And I was like, I don't care. This is what I'm good at. This is what I'm meant to do. And so I just haven't stopped.
And thank goodness you haven't. I mean, if we go into that category of maybe not always having that body type that some would consider ideal, I mean, we look at Amy Schumer, I look at you, Dana, I look at Melissa McCarthy, I look at Rumor, I mean, I just these are the women that can just make me laugh and mend my heart and make me feel included. And I'm so thrilled that all of you, and especially you, have stuck with it, because it's, I say you make us laugh and it's, oh, that's so sweet, but truly I hope that all of the actors, and especially the actresses that are in the comedic bucket, I hope that they all know how much their dedication to their craft and their thoughtfulness that they put into it means to people like us that are all huddled around this microphone right now. So
that's cool. Thank you for saying that. It's interesting. I think that entertainment, obviously we want an escape. We want to live a fantasy. And yeah, sometimes we want to see Charlize Theron or whoever it is,
right,
and pretend like we're living that life or whatever. But isn't it also fun to see someone that's like us, like just a normal person?
Mm-hmm.
And I think about that when I am looking at roles to audition for. I've had people ask me to do things that I was like, no, I'm not doing that, because I'm not going to tell a woman who looks like me that she is less than or disgusting or that something's wrong with her, because I'm living a really great life and I'm just like her.
Yeah. Well, I think what I love so much, and I think everyone in this room can agree, is what makes the roles and the characters that you've had the opportunity to sculpt and portray so funny is that, especially in that airplane scene in Bridesmaids, the reactions that you have are so relatable, because that's what I would do if I had a crazy person screaming that there was a colonial woman on the wing of the plane churning butter. I mean, but I was also at work and I had to kind of keep my composure, but get to the back of that plane as fast as possible. I'd have the same reaction as you, and then my meme that, you and I connected, what started it all was that I found that clip of you from Modern Family where you're breaking that fire poker over your leg. And I'm like, if only I could actually react this way and still be welcome in my home at Christmas with the rest of my family, I would do it. So, so much of, Corbin is a working actor. You are a working actor. Adriana and I actually both went to school for musical theater performance and stuff like that.
Awesome.
So we had wanted to do this, but I think in all of us, it's that fire of maybe proving ourselves right, maybe it's proving other people wrong, but I do think that some of the people that are the most successful in the industry are the ones that go about it in a way that's thoughtful and with the intent of touching other people and making everyone feel included, but through a screen, or sometimes if you're on the stage that 10 feet away on a stage. I think that's why we do it, and I admire you so much because you do it, and you do it impeccably.
Thank you very much. It's interesting. I think if you get into this industry and you find something else that you love, that means you were supposed to find that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny because like I was in vocal training my entire life. Like I know that I can sing. I know that. It didn't work out, so I've been toiling around in corporate for 5 years now, and then it wasn't until I lost my job, what was it, 4 or 5 months ago, you guys? And then could come out of my depression that I literally woke up one morning and was like, let's do a podcast. And now here we are. We're talking to you. We had another celebrity on the show last week. We're on 7 different streaming services. So I did find my way back to entertainment. It's just in a different way than what I thought. And that's okay. Because I just want to be creative.
And it doesn't mean that's your final stop either.
Oh, jeez.
You know,
Speak it into
you know what I
existence.
mean?
Yep.
Like, it could come back to you in a different way. Like, this is all a journey. We don't know what the end is.
Nope.
But as long as you're willing to fight for it, I think you can get whatever you want.
I completely agree. Could you share with us, do you have any like special moments, maybe that didn't necessarily happen like on camera, like have you ever had a really special moment with like maybe like a crew member or like, someone who's like driving the golf cart? I'm always looking for sort of those really special moments that aren't so like glitzy and glamorous, but rather just remind us how awesome it is to be a human and be present.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I really love to make an effort to get to know the crew and stuff if I'm on a project, more than a day. Because those are the people that make everything happen. And so I've had a lot of really great conversations with people like that. And one of the things that I feel like I get feedback from a lot is people tell me, crews and stuff tell me that I'm just fun to have around. And that makes me so happy because it tells me that I'm still grateful for what I have. Like, I believe I deserve to be there. Don't get me wrong. I believe in my ability and my talent. But not everyone is pleasant to be around. And when I see people like that, I'm like, oh, you forgot what it was like or never knew what it was like to just be a real normal human that isn't catered to all the time. And so when people tell me, you're so fun to work with, you bring so much joy to set, that is like the biggest compliment, I think.
I love that. Well, I can definitely see why people would say that to you. I mean, I don't know. There's something about you. I don't know. I feel like all I've done is like kiss your ass, and I don't mean to do that and like make you uncomfortable, but there's just something about just seeing you on screen and just knowing that there's stuff going on behind the scenes that's just as genuine and intentional and positive as what we see on screen, and that really does come through, and I hope you know that. So I want to ask, and I realize like you're currently on Modern Family, so you might have to sway this a certain way, but do you have a favorite character or do you have a favorite project that you've been a part of, or are they all special to you?
They're kind of all special for different reasons. Like, I've definitely had bad experiences too. Not very many. I'm very lucky. But gosh, to say a favorite, I've had so many mind-blowing moments. Like when I auditioned for Curb Your Enthusiasm, and then I did book it and got to be on Curb with Larry David. But the audition process itself was just crazy. Walking into a room with him and Jeff Garland being like, oh my God, it's Dana. She was in my movie this summer, remember? And him going, oh yeah, you played the secretary or whatever. Like the fact that somebody like that had seen me. I was like,
oh my
whoa.
God. That's really cool.
There's many moments like that. Walking the same day that I booked Modern Family, I also booked Veep. Which that never has happened to me before, and I don't think I've heard a ton of stories like that.
So funny story about that episode. Were you in more than one episode of Veep?
I think I
Were
think
you
it was
in,
in
like,
2 or 3, 2, yeah.
So that one where it was you and the other gentleman where you were there to like help out with calling or whatever, I just
Yes.
remember like you showed up earlier in the episode and then, you know, sort of whatever, but I remember sitting here and I looked at my friend and I'm like, where'd those people go? They're gonna pop back up. And the next thing you know, there you guys were, and we both looked at each other and went, oh no. And I just love, like, I love that I have that reaction, like, every single time I see you come into a scene and I'm like, oh no, here she
Here
comes.
she comes.
Here
Oh
she
no.
comes. So
Yeah,
what-
I've had a lot of experiences. Like when I auditioned for Bridesmaids, the first time I auditioned with Kristen Wiig and we were doing an improvised scene and our faces just kept getting closer and closer. So the last like minute of the scene we did together, our mouths were touching. And I just remember I didn't know her at the time. We had tons of mutual friends, but I had never met her. And I just remember thinking, I'm touching faces with Kristen Wiig right now. Like, you know,
I love
it was
her.
pretty she's amazing. Yeah, and I have so many moments like that you know, Springfield, Missouri, Dana Powell, who entertainment was just a dream. I mean, my face would have blown off my body.
Mm-hmm. Well, our faces have officially blown off our bodies because we just can't believe that we're talking to you. I have one more question.
Okay.
I think that I'm okay. So I can tell that you and your husband and your child have a wonderful relationship with one another. It seems that you're all in good health and good spirits. So we know that future looks very, very bright. What is in the future for the actor side of you? Like, do you have any dream roles, any dream directors, dream, you know, fellow castmates that you'd like to work with? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, right now I'm in the phase of just being grateful for anything that comes my way. And learning like it's respectable to make a living, so not all jobs are equal. But I would say if I have one dream, this is in my Get Shit Done book. You guys are making me go back to it. What I really think I want, and I really have to narrow this down because we can't get what we want if we don't know, right? So I would like to be a series regular on a show that gets picked up because I've asked like the universe, like, oh, I want to audition for pilots. Oh, I want to get called back. Oh, I want to get one. And then it didn't get picked up. So I'm asking specifically to be a series regular on a show that gets picked up.
There you go.
But I also want to continue writing. I'm pitching a show right now. And I would love to be a showrunner. And continue writing.
Corbin is snapping his fingers. He's very excited.
Well, that's such a huge deal, and I always find that, like, just from a woman's perspective, there's not enough of them. And
No,
if there are,
there's
there's not those opportunities given because, again, like, women are just as good, if not better, in my opinion, and they can do the job from a unique perspective because how often I'm sorry, I'm taking over, Dana, but
no, it's fine.
like,
No, please, keep talking.
How often do you go into a room, and I was just explaining this to someone today about when it comes to casting and going to a room. From my perspective, like as a black man, there's all these white people in the room, and they always think of colored people last because it's not on their radar. So again, being a showrunner or being a woman, how many times do you go into a room or to a creative team and there are all these men and they think of a woman last, and there's no one there to speak up and to give a legitimate reason or just like, hey, we're here too.
Right.
Yeah.
And that bothers me so much in this business.
Oh man. So Dana, thank you for giving us your time and your respect and your open and honest opinions. We feel so proud to be able to spend this time with you, and we are looking forward to having an open dialogue with you in the future so that we can continue to push things forward for all the dreamers, and especially the dreamers and the changers that are women. So thank you.
Thank you so
I
much.
love it.
Dana.
Thank you so much for having me. You guys have been so kind, and I'm really super excited to see what you guys do this year.
Thank you. You are so sweet. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to Dicks and Politics.
Digestible and unfiltered content about men, money, and moments.
New episodes every Wednesday.
Don't forget to subscribe.